Hi, thanks for the gig. My friend is an aspiring author and has considered quitting his job so he has more time to create fiction as well as original songs. I gave him my honest assessment, but he does not believe me. He provided the brief description below.
This is a rip-roaring fantasy anthology for all ages. Please be honest and thorough with your review. Do I have what it takes to make it as an offer? How ready is this for publication?
Hello, it's Angel, and today I'm going to be reacting and reviewing the big fantasy book of Jorrun. Super excited. Let's get into it. Stories and activities. Page 1, One Genie Too Many. We have a very interesting photo here. I'm not really sure what that's about, but that's cool. You know what? I will say this. I'm sorry, I have allergies. That's why I'm rubbing my nose. I will say this. It's getting my attention. I do think it's an interesting choice for a photo. But anyways, so stories and activities. Part 1, One Genie Too Many. Page 1. Page 7, Sinbad Speaks. Page 10, The Story of Jorrun. Page 12, Jorrun's Top 10 Lists. Okay. Page 1. One Genie Too Many. All stories and activities by Jorrun, age 50. Oh, Jorrun is your actual name? That's awesome. Rogue, hide me. Jorrun charged into the forest at full speed. I do see a little mistake here, like rogue, hide me with the little exclamation point. You know, like there should be a space there, but just a little thing. So, okay, Rogue Mage looked up from his spellbook. What's the problem now, you numbhead? Loincloth riding up on ya? Oh, very funny, Roger Rogue Mage Age. I'm being chased by a giant. His wife lied to me and told me she was single. Then Bigfoot decides to take me out for the count. Why do women always lie to get with me? Rogue Mage grinned widely. Oh, like you never do the same to them? What, never? There's some more places here I see where there should be spaces. So when you put the exclamation points and then you start a new sentence, there should be a space after the exclamation point. What, never? I'm a gentleman and I've never had to lie to attract women. Or are you blind as well as ugly? Rogue Mage shook his head and smiled. He and Jorrun had been friends for some time and often expressed it by dogging on each other. I don't know about you, guy. When are you going to stop chasing everything in a skirt and just pick one? What, just one? You mean give up all other women and just always be with the same girl? Jorrun looked confused at the concept. He couldn't see, oh yeah, and then after your semicolon there should be a space too before the next word. He couldn't see how this would be of any benefit to him. Rogue laughed. Well, at the very least, try to be certain that they aren't married next time. Now, if you were like me, you wouldn't have these problems. I'm a one-woman man. Okay, let me just say one quick thing. I do think it kind of jumps right into this dialogue where we aren't really sure what's going on, kind of like no context. It's kind of an interesting conversation, like he lies to get with the women, right? So that part is interesting to me, but then it's kind of like sort of a lack of context there. So let's continue. So Rogue laughed. Well, at the very least, try to be certain that they aren't married next time. Now, if you were like me, you wouldn't have these problems. I'm a one-woman man. Oh yeah, right. It's just that the woman changes from week to week. Hey, I can't help it. Also, this is a lot of dialogue. Sometimes I see this a lot actually where people, they're just like, oh, he said this, they said that, they said that. Like, you know, it's not a script, it's a story, so you want more than just like dialogue, which I know you do have more, but just like for now, it sort of seems like maybe a lot of dialogue. So it's another thing to think about. So, hey, I can't help it. I want to make sure I have the right one. Jorrun sat down. Oh, so you named a character your own name. I think it's always cool when people do that. Jorrun sat down next to Rogue Mage and they started arm wrestling. Usually Jorrun won, but sometimes Rogue Mage would sneak in a spell to even the odds. Suddenly Jorrun's head swung sharply to the right. I smell a woman, he announced. He had the ability to smell... Okay, here's another little thing too. When you have a quote like that and you're like, I like this, they said, it's kind of hard to explain, but there's a comma, like inside the dialogue. Well, I don't know. It's really hard to explain though. But I guess I would say like have someone else maybe to do like the grammar editing, because that's not really my type of thing. I do mention it to people if there's little things, but I'm kind of seeing a lot of like not so much grammar actually, but like punctuation things for you. Or maybe did you do like a punctuation check on like Microsoft Word? They would probably tell you a lot of this. Anyway, he had the ability to smell a woman from 100 yards away, developed from years of experience with the opposite sex, most of it very enjoyable. Sure enough, entering the glade from the main path was a beautiful woman with, whoa, I just accidentally went to the wrong page, with coal black eyes and raven hair. She was tall and willowy with olive skin. She wore a very revealing blue harem outfit that showed off all her assets. She was breathtaking, which is why the boys were hyperventilating. Whoa, she's a babe, drooled Rogue Mage, eyeing her closely. I've never been with a genie before. I think it's time to change that. He rose to his feet to walk to her. Well, I have had a lot of experience with genies, having had several as my own, and I think it's time to add another to my collection. Jorrun staggered up and stood beside Rogue. Yeah, as if she'd be interested in you, barbarian. Watch the mage work his magic on this unsuspecting woman. Before long, the two boys started pushing each other. Then they started wrestling to see who would get the girl. This was foolish, as they once before had fought over a lovely genie, with the result being her leaving the forest. They didn't remember that time right now because they were being motivated by something other than their brains. Tamira looked over. Is that the genie? I think it would be, right? Tamira looked over at the two men and smiled slyly. She loved this power that she had over men, to reduce them to immature children with just the wink of her eye. Perhaps she could use these two to get her freed from her current master. He was such a bore and ugly as well. He let her stay out of her bottle as often as she wished and always treated her kindly, but how did it look for a goddess like her to be seen with such a loser? If she could get one of these simpletons to steal the bottle from her master, she could probably trick them into setting her free, and then imagine the havoc she could create. The whole world would be hers for the taking. Her master was too smart to be tricked into releasing her, but these two... So she's sort of clever. Hello, gentlemen, Tamira smiled her most breathtaking smile. You two must be the most handsome men in the whole forest. The boys stopped wrestling and stood up immediately, embarrassed that they had been caught in such a wild display. Why, thank you, miss, smiled Rogue Mage. And to what do we owe the pleasure of this visit? Yes, what lucky wind blew such a fair creature as yourself into our forest? Asked Jorrun, kissing her right hand. The battle for the genie was on. Rogue gave Jorrun an unnoticeable shove away from Tamira. Pay no attention to this oaf, my lady. Here, a rose for you to match your lovely lips. Rogue Mage conjured a rose into his left hand and offered it to her. My goodness, such powerful magic, Tamira enthused, buttering him up. You must be a great sorcerer. Jorrun pried his way back into the conversation. Oh no, my dear, he is but a circus act compared to the vast magic talents a genie such as you must have. Jorrun pushed Rogue Mage aside, less than gently. More than you would ever guess, fool, thought Tamira harshly. She could see that getting these two to do her bidding would be quick work indeed. And you, Tamira's eyes grew wide. I've never in all my 3,000 years of life seen a more muscular, man. He must be the strongest man in the world, and so handsome as well. Tamira squeezed Jorrun's bicep and then ran her index finger down his chest to his belly. Why can't I ever find a master like you? In the half-second silence before Jorrun could respond, Rogue Mage jumped in. Oh, you are in need of a master, he said, failing miserably at sounding casually uninterested. Perhaps I can be of some assistance. I would consider it an honor to have you as my genie. Well now, to have such a charming man as master would be any genie's dream come true. Ah, but my lady, he has no experience with genies, horned in Jorrun. I, however, have had several of them, and I assure you they all love the experience, so I could make you very... Kinda makes you want to vomit, don't it? Grin. Two otherwise very cool and reasonably intelligent gentlemen reduced to quarreling schoolboys over a woman. But ask yourself, would I really enjoy reading this story if the boys behaved themselves and acted maturely? Of course not. Now on with the story. But alas, I cannot, sighed Tamira sadly, in action that had a very eye-catching effect on her bosom. For I already have a master, and I must serve him, if only someone could rescue my bottle from his clutches. Rogue and Jorrun said nothing at first, entranced as they were with her heaving cleavage. Rogue snapped out of it first. Oh, is that all? I'll conjure it up before you can say 5 forest freaks fell forward 7 times. Jorrun pulled Rogue aside. Dude, you can't do that. It's like stealing. She belongs to her master. She's not up for grabs. Tamira overheard and had planned for this. No stupid barbarian would outwit her. Oh, but brave sir, my master is a cruel man. He keeps me bottled up at all times and beats me whenever I take too long granting him a wish, Tamira wailed. Rogue looked at her appraisingly. Then how is it that you are here now, and you have no bruises from what I can see? Tamira burst into tears. Oh, you don't believe me. Now I'll never be free of that awful man. Jorrun and Rogue Mage, like most gentlemen, were helpless against the tears of a woman. Their hearts melted, and all their doubts were instantly removed. Hey, no need for tears. We believe you, said Rogue gently. He conjured up a handkerchief and wiped away her tears. We'll help you get your bottle away from your master, won't we, Jorrun? As good as done, agreed Jorrun, nodding vigorously. Just stop crying and tell us where to find him. Tamira stopped crying and smiled warmly at the two of them. As soon as these fools set me free, I will use my power to become queen of the forest. The barbarian oaf I shall turn into a cockroach, and the goofy magician will become a slug, she thought. No, wait, he will be a toilet, and the other a spittoon. Yes, that pleases me. That's hilarious, actually. Rogue helped her to her feet. Oh, how lucky I am to have found such brave heroes to rescue me today, Tamira gushed, trying to keep her lunch down. I know everything will be okay. But of course it will, my dear, said Jorrun, linking his arm in hers. Let's be off at once. Jorrun walked her down the path. Unfortunately, at this very moment, Jorrun's trademark bad luck curse, all rights reserved, decided to manifest itself. Jorrun tripped over a tree root and fell headfirst into a mud puddle. Tamira, who was holding onto him, quickly followed suit. Tamira splashed headfirst into the mud puddle, getting covered from head to toe in the filthy mire. Her eyes glared pure hatred for Jorrun for subjecting her to this embarrassment. How dare this clumsy fool do this to me, she thought angrily. How dare you do this to me, you clumsy fool, Tamira said angrily. Oh, please forgive me, miss. I didn't. Quiet, you idiotic buffoon. I should change you into an ant and step on you for this. Tamira raised her arms, gesturing threateningly. Hey, you can't talk to my friend Jorrun like that, defended Rogue. You're not so nice after all. Tamira turned to Rogue Mage, grinning evilly. At last you catch on, you two-bit sideshow magician. Now I'll be done with both of you. She raised her hands and Rogue flew back several hundred feet into some trees. Jorrun unsheathed his sword. No one maltreats my friends and gets away with it. He charged at her, swinging his sword wildly. Tamira laughed and vanished in a puff of smoke. Oh, laughed at. Yeah, there's a little mistake right there. Tamira laughed, it should be and, vanished in a puff of smoke right before Jorrun's sword sliced at her neck. Fool, you cannot harm me. She reappeared behind him. Now taste my fury. Tamira waved her hands, and Jorrun flew backward, knocking him into a tree. Instantly, steel cables appeared around him, tying him firmly to the tree. Jorrun couldn't even move. Rogue Mage leapt up, furious. You shall pay for this indignity. He spread his arms wide, and a huge fireball appeared, headed straight for Tamira. Tamira quickly gestured, and the fireball reversed its course and headed right back to Rogue Mage. Shocked at this turn of events, Rogue could not move away in time and was struck by his own fireball. Tamira laughed. She blinked her eyes, and suddenly Rogue Mage was tied tightly to the tree next to Jorrun, burned from head to toe, barely conscious. Fool, your puny magic is nothing when compared to that of a genie's, laughed Tamira mercilessly. Now then, how shall I kill you two? I know. How about electrocution? Tamira raised her arms heavenward, and a storm cloud appeared. She closed her eyes so as to fully concentrate on this complex spell and to form the lightning that would char the two heroes out of existence. Rogue, can you hear me? We're about to become toast. Yeah, but I can't do anything. She has my hands tied together. I wouldn't be able to do more than a simple conjure spell like this. Oh, I feel sorry for whatever poor sap is her master. Her master? Jorrun pondered for a minute. Rogue, that's it. If you can bring her master here, he has to stop her. She has to obey him. Rogue Mage concentrated for a minute, and suddenly a small gnome appeared before them, ugly but with a kind face, and with a very ornate bottle in his right hand. Huh? Where am I? How did I get here? He exclaimed, looking around. Jorrun quickly explained and asked for the gnome's help. Oh, so Tamira is up to more mischief, is she? I'll take care of that, he said, marching toward her. Tamira! Tamira's train of thought was broken, and the cloud disappeared. Master, she cried nervously, when did you get here? Never mind that. These boys tell me that you were planning on killing them. Oh no, master. Tamira fell to her knees. They are evil men, and they planned on killing you to steal my bottle. Jorrun and Rogue Mage together. What? Enough of your lies, Tamira. Now, I now know my next wish. I wish for you to be trapped in this bottle until your heart becomes good. Tamira screamed in rage, but was forced to grant the wish. As she smoked into her bottle, they heard her say, I'll get you all for this. Traditional lame closing line for the bad guy. The gnome corked up the bottle and turned to the guys. This day was a long time in coming. It's actually just a long time coming. There's no in. People would warn me about her and how bad things would happen when she was around, but I wouldn't listen. Now she won't hurt anyone else. What a horrible experience, said Rogue Mage disgustedly. I never should have happened. Yeah, I'm never fighting over a girl again. It's stupid to let some chick get in between us. Agreed, friend barbarian. Our friendship is more important than any woman. Let us never compete for the hand of a woman again. Let's shake on it. They shook hands and smiled. Suddenly, two nymphs entered the forest. They saw the two boys and smiled brightly, winking at them at desiring from them the only thing nymphs want of men. Look, Jorrun, 2 nymphs. It's perfect. Yes, it is. 2 for me, none for you. That's funny. End. Okay, so I guess there's another one after this. You know what? I'm gonna say some thoughts that I have. So first of all, I think this actually is more entertaining than some of the stuff that I see. I don't think it's what you think it is. I don't think it's like literary fiction. I think you have an audience, but I think your approach to try to write this as like an actual book or whatever, I don't know if that's the way to go. I definitely would not like quit your job don't quit your job until you have your audience at least. Don't quit your job because something you think is gonna happen. Like, quit your job once you see some sort of success, or if you have the money to do it, then I guess do whatever you want. But I think you would find more of an audience on what's that website called? Wattpad. Like on Wattpad in the fantasy category, and you could post like one chapter at a time. I also think you have some work to do as far as like setting the scene and like maybe making it a little bit less, I would say, like immature and shallow. I'm not trying to be mean, because it was entertaining and funny, and yeah, but I think just making it like a little bit more depth would be cool. But it does have that comedy aspect that makes it entertaining. It was clever, it was funny, it was, you know what, it was a lot more entertaining than the last story I read on here. So you have at least the quality of being entertaining, and that takes a lot. I think another thing you could do, I noticed that it does seem like maybe a little bit sexist, but you know what, that being said, there is an audience out there for that. I think you would have to take it further, maybe make it like actual erotica, like make it a little more inappropriate, a little more sexual. But yeah, if you did that and posted it on like some erotica website, or like made like an erotica book or something and had like a proper editor, because like you do have a lot of punctuation errors, like a lot. But anyway, I think that's maybe another avenue you could go, especially maybe if you had an illustrator for you. But it's all a little bit scatterbrained, I think. Yeah, but for you, I would probably start out with like Wattpad. Just like post one chapter at a time, work on your punctuation skills, and work on making it a little bit more like set, like a little bit more full. It kind of seems sort of like a template for something, you know what I mean? So just like flesh it out a little bit. Yeah, okay, so here's the next story. Sinbad speaks. So I'm hanging out at Akbar's tavern, right? Just me and my best bud in the world, Ali Baba, kicking back and downing some brews, talking about old times and trying to figure out why we ain't yet gone on a voyage together. When he walks in, yeah, you guessed it, that spoiled brat Aladdin, that little son of a camel. He all walks in like he owns the place, ever true to form. He's always been like that, always will be, jerk. These pictures you choose are funny. You know how when you went to school, there was always this one kid who had everything handed to him on a silver platter? Well, Aladdin was that kid. Not me, who had to make 7 voyages to get rich. Not Ali Baba. Wait, I just thought of something else. You could also work with illustrators to make comics. I think some of these would make really amazing comic strips. Or you could learn how to draw yourself, and it doesn't have to be good. Like, there's lots of comics that are kind of like chicken scratch drawings. I don't know how you are at drawing, but if you could find someone to draw panels for you, or if you can draw, or if you could like learn to draw, because we have the internet, you could learn on YouTube or something. I actually think comics would also be an amazingly good avenue for you to go. But anyhow, so anyway, he was always Mr. Lucky. He'd trip over something and fall, and it'd be some magic jewel. And despite what he's told the press, he was never poor. The only hood he's ever seen is the inside of sorry, I got like a low battery thing. Is the inside of... Wait. The only hood he's ever seen inside of is attached to his cloak. No, Aladdin, or Laddie, as I like to call him, was always the rich boy who got whatever he wanted. But that's okay. Me and Ali gave him a good ghetto whooping now and again to keep him in line. So like I was saying, Aladdin walks in like he's all big and bad, as if with this gorgeous flame-haired genie on his arm. Yeah, I know. You heard that the genie he had was a huge, freaky-looking creature with blue skin. Wrongo, she was a babe. And that crap about 3 wishes per person? Man, that's how he plays the press. If you knew he was a kid who always had his meal ticket handed to him by fate, would you want to be around him? Not hardly, especially if his genie was a knockout who was always eager to please. Okay, I will say also this kind of all seems like maybe a little bit like hyper, you know, like it's not the most grounded sort of writing. That being said, like I said, there's other avenues for that type of stuff. Making games, making comics, yeah, there's, but for like a writing, if you want to write a book, it is a little bit like, like jumping all over, bouncing off the walls. But yeah, but it's entertaining and funny. So, you know, that's two things that a lot of people don't have. Okay, especially if his genie was a knockout who was always eager to please. And another thing, he did not only have one genie. Guys, more genies than I got changes of underwear. Yes, I have several. Thank you very much. Anywho, Laddie walks in with this genie du jour hanging onto his arm, wearing slightly more material than that found in Ollie's turban. They go over to the bar, and Aladdin says in this real loud voice, "Innkeeper, a bottle of your best wine for the lady and myself." You know, trying to show off and stuff. Prove how loaded he is, jerk. So the genie's like, "Ooh, master, you're so generous. I'm so lucky to have a master like you." And he's like, "Yes, you are lucky. Don't you ever forget it." Meanwhile, I'm about to lose my lunch of hummus from listening to these two. Just for your own edification. Oh, it's the wrong your, sorry. Hummus looks pretty much the same coming up as it does going down. That's a little more information than you needed, isn't it? 1,000 pardons. Laddie, of course, tells the bartender to put it on his tab. Cheapskate. He has more shekels than the Sahara has sand, but it is stingier than a Casbah merchant. The bartender, of course, realizes that he'll be turned into a rat if he doesn't comply, so he lets this slide. Ali mutters something about how if Aladdin fell into a well, there'd be a bottle with a genie in it underneath him. I try to ignore the goings-on and ask Ali if he's gotten around to changing the password for the cave yet. I suggest open pumpernickel, open rye, and open pita, but Ali doesn't like any of my ideas. We discuss carpets that are coming out this year and wonder if they really can fly so much faster than the old models. I doubt it. They always add new features, but the mileage usually stays the same. And all of a sudden, Aladdin decides to make us really jealous. He pulls his genie close and starts kissing her. And she's like, "Ooh, master," in this high voice, like she's so pleased. Then he pulls her onto his lap and starts rubbing her back and kissing her neck. "Oh, master," she gushes, "your wish is my command." Ollie rolls his eyes. "Exhibitionists, why don't that get themselves a motel room somewhere?" I think you meant they. Or better yet, I suggest, maybe they could go back to her bottle and we could toss it to the bottom of the sea. Ollie laughs. Aladdin, meanwhile, sees that we aren't jealous enough and decides to up the ante. They kiss more. They're making out in the bar. It was disgusting. Like, people want to look at that. It was such a desperate act of a dim-witted man. "Hey," yelled Ollie at them, "this is a public place. Why don't you wish for a tent or something?" Everybody laughs. Laddie glares at him. "Shut up, Baba. Everybody knows you're jealous of me." I laughed so hard at that comment, I spit out my grog. "Yeah, right, Aladdin. And that genie's with you because of your sparkling personality." You know, here's another thing I'll say. If you're going to write stuff like this, I think fan fiction could be a good avenue for you, too. I think it's also on Wattpad, I believe it's also allowed. So, like, if you use characters that already exist, like you're using Aladdin, you could say it's Aladdin fan fiction. And, you know, people would read it. And then for your other book, for your other story, I mean, you could just replace the characters with, like, characters from something. And then I know, like, there's all kinds of popular fan fictions, you know, so I think fan fiction is another avenue you could do. But anyway, this is a public place. Why don't you wish for a tent or something? Everybody laughs. Laddie glares at him. "Shut up, Baba. Everybody knows you're jealous of me." I laughed so hard. Oh, wait, I've already read this. "Yeah, right, Aladdin. That genie's with you because your sparkling personality. Now the whole tavern's full of laughing people." Laddie turns beet red. "You'll pay for that, Sinbad. No one mocks the great Aladdin and gets away with it." "Pay for it," I say, with a look of mock horror on my face. "Oh, dear Allah, all I have on me to pay you is a mere shekel. Perhaps I should give it to you, so you can buy a clue." Aladdin jumps up, flushed with rage. "That does it. Jamila, turn the sailor into a scorpion." Well, needless to say, the scorpion lifestyle does nothing for me, and all my lady friends would avoid me, safe to say. I couldn't let this two-bit punk think I was afraid of him, so I jumped up and caught the chandelier, just in time to miss the genie's bolt of magic. My chair wasn't quite so lucky. A wooden scorpion appeared in its place. I hope it wasn't too attached to being sat on. But seriously, attempting to transform me into an insect is a surefire way to get on my bad side. I let go of the chandelier and dropped to the floor. I glared. "Oh, it's on now, laddie," I spat angrily. Ollie rushed to my side, his scimitar withdrawn. "Let's rumble." "Sobs, I beg of you. Take this quarrel outside," pleaded the innkeeper anxiously. No doubt he had visions of broken property dancing in his head, or the possibility of having to live his life as a desert creature worried him. Laddie glared angrily at him. "Shut up, old fool. Aladdin the Great fights wherever he pleases." I was plenty angry, but at hearing the phrase Aladdin the Great, a huge grin spread across my face. Aladdin the Great? The only thing I can think of that you'd be great at, laddie, can't be mentioned in a family story. Aladdin looked about ready to kill. Ollie wisely brought the three of us outside, where we could fight with relatively little damage to our surroundings. But what can I say? It all happened so fast, but the next thing I remember is Aladdin is on the ground, crying, about to be taken to prison by the palace guards. Ollie has this huge grin on his face, and the genie is hanging onto him, calling him master, and I'm holding the best scimitar I've ever seen in my life in the right hand. Talk about your happy endings. So boys and girls, the moral of the story is, no matter how big and bad you think you are, someday you'll get stomped. You'll need to have nothing but love for all your fellow creatures. Peace, I'm out. End. Okay. The story of Jorrun. Here we go. Jorrun the Barbarian was born 25 years ago in the barbarian village of Frome, Lusitania. He is the grandson of Jorrun the Barbarian and Threnody. His uncle is named Conan. His parents are Sundar and Sheena. The curse. When Jorrun was born, an evil wizard... Okay, here's another thing. There's this thing in writing called, like, show, don't tell. So instead of being like, Jorrun was born in this village, his parents are this and that, show it somehow. You know, like, do a flashback or something to, like, him being born, or, like, you know, mention it later naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should Google show, don't tell in general, but, yeah. Also, but if it is fantasy, another thing you could do is, like, literally, like, fantasy, they kind of do, like, background info, but they don't do it, like, the way you did it. Like, you know how sometimes, like, you open a fantasy book and they have, like, maps, they have, like, diagrams of stuff and illustrations. Like, you could do stuff like that, and I think that engages fantasy fans for the details they want in a way that they're used to. The curse. When Jorrun was born, an evil wizard, the most powerful in the world at the time, decided to get revenge on Jorrun and Conan for their destruction of his empire. He waited until Jorrun's parents took him to the village oracle to see what his future would be. At that time, the wizard, watching from afar, put a powerful curse on Jorrun. The oracle told Jorrun's parents that fate had decided that he would be terminally unlucky, a failure at everything that he would do. He would never be a great hero. He would always hurt those closest to him and let others down. He would never find true love. Jorrun's uncle, Conan, however, couldn't be put off quite so easily. He decided that he would turn the boy into something greater than what fate had decreed for him. Though the curse at times made his life unbearable, he trained in the ways of the barbarians until he became a true warrior. The quest. When Jorrun turned 25, he left the village on a routine hunting trip. While he was gone, an evil wizard happened by. Angered by the village's policy of no magic users allowed, he turned all the villagers into trees. Jorrun returned in time to see the head of the village council before his transformation was complete. He was instructed to search for a genie, the easiest magical being to control, so as to turn the villagers back to human. Jorrun was devastated but nerved himself up for the challenge. He wandered for days and then months. He searched through the plains, forests, coasts, and deserts. No one could help him, and many challenged him because of his lack of magical ability. Eventually, he discovered an enchanted woodland and met a pixie. She agreed to transform into a genie and became his. She went to Frome and changed the villagers back. Jorrun was praised publicly and was proclaimed what the curse said he would never be, a hero. Later, Jorrun decided to return to one of the forests where he had made some friends, both human and magical, and now spends time... It should be spends, you wrote Spence, no big deal. Learning how to deal with immortals. Personality. Jorrun has a lust for life. He loves to fight evil, thinking it his purpose in life to make the world a safe place. He also loves to charm the ladies and has trouble keeping his mind off sex, barbarian hormones. He was born really stupid. Mother dropped him on his head when he was a tot, but an accidental wish gave him higher than normal intelligence, though he still gets really confused sometimes and has trouble paying attention. The curse can make his life hell at times, making him say and do things that hurt others and let them down. It has also stopped him from ever having a steady girlfriend, even though many girls would do all else with him. Jorrun also has a dark side. He has twice tried to set fire to the forest when he was at his lowest point emotionally. He has gotten in trouble for at times killing evil rather than just capturing it. He at times sings songs with very dark lyrics. He once attempted suicide. Another time he became enraged and began knocking down trees. He has also sworn to kill the wizards who put the curse on him and who changed his people into trees. This is not Jorrun most of the time, however. He tries his best to help others and keep them safe. He is only feared by the forces of evil. He tries his best to be friends with all and loves to make people laugh. Jorrun also plays the guitar and sings. A granted wish has also given him the ability to fly, which he loves to do. He remembers what it was like to live in a village with no magic and prefers to do things for himself rather than have it handed to him. This is the barbarian way, and it has made him stronger and more powerful mentally than many of the magic users he meets. Home. Jorrun was raised in the small barbarian village of Frome in the mountains of Lusitania. The villagers have no magic, as barbarians possess very little talent for it. They have defended it from various magical beings for 500 years. This has made them very powerful warriors, and the weaknesses of all magical beings is taught as standard schooling. Over the centuries, many have tried to enslave the occupants of Frome, but have always been unsuccessful. The residents are extremely suspicious of magicians for this reason, and magic is banned. Jorrun went on his quest at the age of 25, and now spends most of the time in the Enchanted Forest, trying to learn all he can about the magical creatures there without getting himself turned into something else. Happens a lot. Jorrun's top 10 lists. 10. At noon, the villagers thought they heard an earthquake. It was his stomach rumbling. 9. Faint scent of domination by... But what list is this? It doesn't say what list this one is. Lingers in the air. 8. Local bully known as Shoeshine Boy. 7. Village tavern has only large pile of animal bones left. All the food is gone. 6. All the ladies have a smile on their face that lasts for a week. 5. Local hospital full of people with names like Evil Guy, Blackheart, and Devilman. 4. 9 months later, all the pretty girls in your village give B. Never mind. 3. Absolutely no beer left in your fridge. 2. Children run around waving wooden swords and yelling, "Evil can kiss my barbarian butt." 1. Your girlfriend insists that you start pumping iron and only wear a loincloth. Top 10 ways that you're not welcome in the forest anymore. 10. Girl known to flirt, have sex with anyone tells you she's decided to become a nun. 9. Rogue mage sends his band of killer mimes after you. 8. Everyone there says you're too cool for here. Why don't you try the hot tub? 7. Guy known for being in the forest 24/7 tells you he's gotta go. Real life calls. 6. Somebody misfires a PM message to you saying, if we all stop talking at once, she might think we're all lagged out and leave. 5. Girl who is always there tells you to get a life. 4. All of a sudden, everybody but you gets summoned it away. Okay, it's all of us sudden, and it's just summoned. But yeah. 3. Every time you arrive, one of the magicians turns you into a pile of sheep dip. 2. One of the warriors asks you to fight on his side as a shield. 1. Reason given every time you get kicked, annoying as hell. Top 10 really cool things that Jorrun says. 10. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jorrun the Barbarian, and you're not. 9. You women are wearing way too much clothing. 8. How do I know you're not only interested in me for my body? 7. Jorrun only pawn in game of life. 6. And the evil guy dies. 5. Do my blue eyes deceive me? 4. You're not attracted to me? Are you a lesbian? 3. Kiss my barbarian butt. 2. And when... This is getting a little repetitive, I have to say. 2. And when women are unhappy, Jorrun is unhappy. 1. Magic? I don't need no stinking magic. Top 10 reasons why being an unmagical mortal is what I think you meant. Always be cooler than being a magical immortal. 10. Your people are always getting stuck in trees, statues, lamps, etc. and needing mortals to get you the hell out. 9. You can say what you want to believe. Your wizards aren't wearing magical robes, they're wearing dresses. 8. If you're all so damn cool, how come there are a billion stories about your women seducing our men, You goddesses out there know what I'm talking about. 7. You get to say, know what they say about the size of a man's sword. 6. Mortals never excuse long periods without sex with lame lines like, sex kinda drains my powers out of me. 5. You never read about us having green skin and warty noses. 4. Much shorter lifespans means we mortals are always ready for sex. 3. Hypothetical situation. All magic suddenly disappears from the world. Mortals pay no attention. Immortals have to sell pencils on street corners. 2. Once you go mortal, you never go down a time portal. No, you never go. Forget it. 1. Nothing. Is that the end? Okay. Well, I pretty much said everything I need to say while I was reading it. Obviously, fucking really funny. I don't know, this is definitely not like a book right now, like a professional book, but here's the thing, you could do Wattpad, you can do comics, and you can do fan fiction. try those things, see how it goes. Like, don't quit your job unless you, like, either you have a lot of money already and you just don't want to work that job anymore, or you have had some success in one of those things. Yeah, and I think you do need to work on your maybe delivery and definitely your punctuation. Yeah, it's actually not so much grammar, but punctuation and a few spelling mistakes, and then just kind of like the way that you write. Remember, look up those things I told you, like show, don't tell, flesh it out a little more, set the scene a little more, maybe a little bit more depth to your characters. I mean, the thing you just wrote is pretty much a description of someone and then a bunch of random lists, so it can be a little random at times, it can be a little erratic at times, it can be a little bit not so grounded, but I think just like keep getting proofreaders if you want to keep writing. But I also think that your talents are better used for comics, Wattpad, and fan fiction. So think about that and work on your writing. But you are talented, and I did enjoy it way more than most of the things that I read on here. Really, it's more entertaining. It's unpretentious, and I think that is a good thing, and I don't think you should lose that and try to become pretentious. I think you should be yourself, but just a little more, maybe more of all the things that I said. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sending this my way. And yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yo. Jorrun Comedy. First name Jorrun, second name Comedy. No, not really. Here we go. My name is Jorrun, and I'm here to say I like rapping in a major way. Now I'm a nice guy and I'm not a rap bastard. This flow is too slow, so now I'll go faster. The last of me just spasm, fall in a chasm. Women fake me every time they orgasm. I make funny songs, I make silly sketches. Hit the like button or you'll get stitches. I make fun alone. My jokes get you off much better than porn. Like someone surviving, like my vibe, hit that bell as well. Get no shit to sun. Oh! That was too fast. Oh God. I see angels. 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 I see angels.